Good afternoon, Ashley Burke, CBC News. President Trump's tone changed today when he talked about Canada. It seemed more positive, and same thing with the call. Do you trust that? Is there a strategy there?
There's always a strategy in a negotiation. Look, I think we've been clear about our priorities, how we're going to approach this. We've been clear that we have other options. We have other trading options, which we're going to continue to build, to be absolutely clear. We're going to continue to develop those trading options. We've also been clear about our priorities here domestically and how we're going to build out this country. Perhaps there was a different impression before about how strong Canada really is.
People are asking what Jedi mind trick Carney pulled on Trump. And I've thought about it. There is one other person I know of who is as good at sidestepping any of Trump's nonsense, and that is Tim Cook. Now, I don't normally talk about Apple much on my channel, partly because I have this face, and I do not want to beef with a company that was a beloved part of my formative years and whose products to this day I am still a huge fan of. And the products that they've been able to make are probably one of the best examples of why a profit motive has a place in an ideal society, but not the place. Back to my point, though. Apple under Tim Cook was able to weather Trump's first term in office by having Tim Cook, which is something I could not do. And not just because I'm not Tim Cook. For me, when I have a conversation with someone, all my cards are pretty well on the table pretty damn quick. I want to know you, I want you to know me, I want you to like me, and I'm going to give you back a lot of whatever it is that you're giving me. If you're high energy, I'm going to be high energy. If you're really chill, I'm going to be pretty chill. Probably not as chill as you, but still pretty chill. And if you're sad, I'm probably going to either be sad with you or I'm going to try and cheer you up, whichever I think you want. The people I'm in a room with will influence how I carry myself, and most people are like that. Tim Cook is unique. I think he'd like you to be happy. He regularly talks about how important it is for him and his company to create products that surprise and delight people. But at the same time, he is not going to give you a free iPhone just to make you happy. He might if you're Beyonce, but otherwise, he's got this really intense chill where he appreciates that those are your feelings, whatever they are, but you're also the biggest factor in what your feelings are. I think that's fair to say about him. If you see him in interviews, he may be upbeat and happy, but there's always this intense, measured dignity to him. He'll happily tell an interviewer about new features of a product that he's excited to get into customers' hands. But if the interviewer tries to get aggressive, like they want to get like a gotcha soundbite, you can expect him to respond almost like a really kind teacher, almost apologetic that you missed the point. So he'll make it again, calmly, in another way. And it really deflates the aggression. It comes across incredibly non-judgmental, but it's very effective. The thing about Trump is he thrives in chaos, which is one of the reasons he creates so much of it. He loves being the center of attention. He needs people talking about him, whether it's for good or ill. Carney does not have that need. Carney has a job to do. And the thing with narcissists is they do crave attention. So while yes, Carney having to campaign and say we're building Canada into a much more self-reliant nation and everyone knows why, does mean that on one level he is reacting to Trump. But the fact is that's not really the reaction Trump was going for. Carney is not trying to outbully Trump. He's not threatening him. He's just providing him with information. So the Americans decide to throw a wrench into the auto industry. That is tough, and it'll take us some time to clean that up. But at the end of the day, we'll be stronger because our new version won't be one that you can harm without triggering Article 5. When you mirror a narcissist's chaos, they feel comfortable progressively becoming more and more absurd. But when you just stay what's called gray rock, you keep your breath even and your tone even, and you do not react strongly. You acknowledge anything that they've said, you don't make them feel like you're ignoring them, but you don't mirror their behavior. Eventually, the narcissist will tire themselves out and they'll start to feel uncomfortable behaving in a chaotic fashion because they're the only one in the room doing that. On some level, they are aware that they are acting childishly. For the time being, I'm really hoping that Carney avoids being in a room with Trump even after the election that also has Vance in it. Because as we saw with Zelensky, Vance, while a bad actor, is still very capable of egging Trump on. So When a meeting finally does happen, I would expect Carney to respectfully request that they keep the meeting closed doored and only include serious people, which would exclude Musk and Vance. We're fortunate in that Carney spent several years in the UK trying to help sort out the mess caused by the incompetent British politicians behind Brexit. He's very well practiced in calmly dealing with people who only got to where they were because of who their dad was and what all boys boarding school they fucked a dead pig's head at. So, yeah, I expect that once talks happen in earnest, Carney will go with a pretty direct set of non negotiables and a number of less essential things that he's willing to give Trump a win on. Because at the end of the day, what Trump cares about is looking like he did something. At the same time, there is also a good chance that Trump comes to the table with a number of wants that Carney will refuse to meet. When it's all said and done, I anticipate that Carney will not simply want to kick this can down the road. He's already talking as if Canada's plans moving forward do not include the United States, and I think that's important because even if we do move back towards a non aggressive trade stance with the US, I think a lot of things, particularly American food products, will not quickly find their market shares in Canada rebounding because Canadians may be known for being kind and selfless, but let's be honest, we should be known for being passive aggressive as fuck.